Okay, guys. So today we are going to talk about one of the specific problem that we have seen in multiple interview questions related to SQL, and even some solving with the problem will be talking about one of the concept of SQL, that is recursive CTE. And with the help of that concept, we will be solving this particular problem. So let's get started. So the problem is if you see the problem statement over here, write an SQL to generate dates from given date till now, till maybe I'll just till current date, some till now, till current date. Hmm. Each row should represent one specific date. So we have to it's a very small, simple question, like user interview is asking, like you give me a query which will generate a dates from given date range till current date. So suppose he's giving a date of 24 Jan, 1st of Jan 2024. So this date he has given, and he's saying like, okay, generate the dates from that given date till current date. So that means you have to generate uh, if you see the input, this is the input, like 21st Jan 2024. And if you see the output, what is expected in output? Expected is number of rows is equal to the number of days which will be falling on between that range. So you need to generate date from the given date till the current date. So suppose the current date is 12th of August 2024. So in that means, like, you have to generate in this way. First of Jan, second of Jan, like that, and then you will be generating for the second month, third month at the end, and so at the end the last row would be the 24 August 12th. So this is the current date. So that many rows will be generated. So I've just put it as dot dot dot. So it would be the number of days. So it would be around 6 or 7 months. So the around 180 or 190 rows should be there. 180 or 119 dates should be there. Yeah, and each row should represent one specific date. So I hope the question is clear. Let's get started with the solution. And even before starting with the solution, let's talk about one of the concept of that is of a skill, that is recursive CTE. First, we will understand this concept, and then we will talk about then we will solve the problem with that particular concept. So, if I go to the skill compiler, if you see over here, I hope everyone knows how CTE is written. So, suppose if you wanted to write a CTE, what you will do, you will start with a with clause CTE name, and you will be typing as open closing bracket, and here you will be typing your select query. This is the generic syntax of with clause. Now, if it is the recursive CT, or sorry, with not it is a generic syntax of CT. Now, if it is the recursive CT, the only thing that would change is the this particular. So let me remove this one, and now I'll explain the concept. So in case of if you wanted to write a so first of all, what is recursivity? A CTE which can be used in a recursive manner. So suppose if you have written this CTE, you can only select start from CTE name, that this is the way you will be writing. So in this way, it is not a recursive operation, right? You are Whatever query is written inside it, it will be executed, and the same output will be, you will be able to select it over here. Just a simple CT. Now, what is recursivity? Recursivity is basically you would be able to use the query output inside the CTE itself. So that is the recur means you can loop into the output of one query into the say into of you will be able to reuse the output of the CTE into the same CTE again. So something like that. Suppose you have written something uh, call one over here, and then you would be able to select call one from the same CTE name. CTE name is inside this one, and you are able to select the call one, which was you have selected over here again inside the CT. So that is something called you where you will be able to perform the recursive operation. So let me remove. I have already written the concept. So if you see how we will be writing, you would need a with keyword, then you would need a recursive keyword. If recursive is mandatory, if you wanted to write as recursive CT, then the CT name as opening bracket, closing bracket, rest everything would remain same. Then at first, what you will be writing, you will be writing a anchor query. So anchor query, which is a base query. the first query. And anchor query is basically the non-recursive query. If you see non-recursive query here, you'll be writing a non-recursive query. This query is not recursive. Then you will be writing union or union all. And once you write a union and union all, that means you wanted to use the output of this particular non-recursive query to the recursive query. So union all, then you will be writing the recursive query. Select and the recursive query. And in this recursive query, what we can use, whatever column you have selected over here, you can use that column from, if you see from CT, we are using the same CT, whichever we are creating. And the main thing that we need to keep in mind over here is that we have to have passed the uh, recursive query termination condition. If you're not passing the recursive query termination condition, it will go on an infinite loop, and your query will keep on running. And you have to run it manually, and you won't be getting the uh, uh, expected output. So recursive query termination condition is mandatory. So this is the syntax. This is and then simply you will be writing select star from city. Now, this is the syntax how you'll be writing. So simple, like with additional of recursive, then this will remain same. First, like usually in the normal CT, we just write a non-recursive query. So in the recursive CT, you will be writing a non-recursive query as it is. Then you will be writing a union all, and then you will be writing a recursive query. So what you will do in recursive query, you will be selecting the column. Like if you need, you will be selecting a column of the column which was selected in the a non-recursive query from CT, the same CT name, this CT name, and along with the CT termination condition. So this loop will keep on executing unless the CT termination condition is met. Once the condition is met, once the records are created, it will do all those things into a union all, and you will be getting multiple rows generated over here in the final output. So this is how the recursive CT is created. Now let's get started with the problem. So the problem is we are just given with one input, that is the start date, that is of 24th Jan 1st Jan 2024. So let's get started with this. So suppose we are writing a recursive CT with recursive, let's say CT, let's say my CT as opening and closing bracket. What you now first we will be writing a base query or anchor query or non-recursive query. So non-recursive query, see this is the input that we have given. So obviously we would be what we will be doing. This input we are given, so we will be just writing it the way it is given, and we will be casting it to date. So this is our start date, right? Or let's say this is our given date. Let's say this is our data. This is base query is done. Now union all. Now I have to write a recursive query. So what I have told in recursive query, we will be writing something from the same CTE. So from my CTE name, I'll copy it from here, paste it here. And here, what I have to do, I have to generate the number. So if you see, the next row is basically just added by 1 day. Next row is added by 1 day, 1 day. So just days are getting increased. So we have to do the same thing. So I told you, right? If you use the recursive CTE, we will be selecting from the CTE name, and we can use this call, this values. So I have selected whatever we are selecting in the non-recursive query, we will be selecting it. We can use that value. So we have a data column, we will be using this data column. And we have just to, what we have to do, we have to just add the data plus one. That would be nothing but we are just increasing the date. And the most important thing is the recursive query termination condition. What would be the termination condition? I wanted to generate these date till I reach the current date. So what I'll do, where I'll just get the current date. Okay, so I got the current date, but where my data is less than the current date. Correct. So it will keep on increasing when it will reach uh, 12th of 12th of July. Uh, yeah, when it will reach 12th of July, or maybe let's put less than or equal to. So when this data will reach 12th of August, and 12th of August is the current date. So it will matching when it will reach 13, then it will condition will fail and it will stop executing the loop, right? So this is the condition. Now I just written a pseudocode over here, but in MySQL and anywhere this data plus won't work. So we have to use a date add function. We have to just increase the number. So date add, and what we have to do, we have a data, and then we have to interval 1 day. So this is the syntax. You can Google it. So if I wanted to increase 1 day in my date, then I'll be putting the syntax interval 1 date and inside a date function. And then from the same city and I've given as data. So now this value would become data. Okay. And I'm checking if the data is less than or equal to current date. Yeah, it is less than, then it will keep on executing. Once it is like today is 12th of August. So once it reaches 13th of August, then it would be executing that condition and it won't be giving that data. So this is done. Now let's just select star because yeah, select star from my city. Nothing. There is just one column in the CT that is my data. So let's just see if it is running. So you see, it is running. So it is starting first Jan, second Jan, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, then uh, February first, February second, third, fourth, like that. If you just keep on filling. So if you see, uh, like you won't be able to see, but the current date is of uh today's date is 12th of August, but we are getting data till 13th of August. Why? Because of this condition. Now what is happening? First it selected this, then it came here, and then it increases the value by 1. Okay, and then it is checking. So what is happening? It is checking. So yeah, sorry, my bad. So it came over here. So this condition, like first it is increasing the value, and we are checking this value. So because this data is done, like this data we just created one time, and then the data would be referred uh, with the value of this particular calculation. So now suppose today's date is 12th of August. It came. We the data is 12th of August, and it reaches the current date. It is true, but when it now what will happen uh, when it comes to 13, it will come over here and still the condition is not matching, but it has already increased the data, so it will be printing that data and it will be executing the loop. So if we don't want to do that one, we will just simply remove the equal to, and now if you run it, you will see. Now you run and you'll see the difference. Now you're getting till current date. So that means this value is increased at the beginning itself, and then it is being validated. And if the condition is false, then still those that value is being added, like that value is being added to the row. That's why if you come over here, uh, like if it is at the end. So suppose we are at this particular section, like as of now, my data value is just writing. So suppose my data value is this one and the current date is also this. So current date is not equal to this. This condition is false. If this condition is false, it will break the loop. But since it has already added the data over here, that particular row will be printed. So that's why what was happening when we were keeping this condition. So in case of this condition is true and it is equal to, then it won't break the loop and it will go again and it will come over here at 13. So now it will break the loop, but 13 has already created and it will be get added at the end. So that's why if you wanted to generate till that day, then don't use the greater than, less than or equal to. Always use the uh, less than. So this is how the query would be running, and I already told uh, I have already explained how this query is running. So simple. I'll just reiterate. We have written this is a syntax. Then this is a base query. In base query, we have just selected the start date. That is the 1st of Jan. Then, as usual, we have to write a union all. Then the recursive query. In the recursive query, what we have to do while looking at the data, we got to know that okay, every time we have to just increase 1 day. So that's what we did. We selected this date as a start date, and we have keep on increasing 1 day. from that date, and then we have given the what do we say, the recursive query termination condition. So the query execution termination condition would be when my data is less than the current date, and then you select everything, you will get this result. So this is how this query gets executed, and this is how the this problem would be solved. Problem would be solved. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Keep commenting, like post your questions in the comment. I will take those questions from the comment itself, and we will resolve. Like I'll be taking the question from the comment itself. So if you have any specific questions, put in the comment, and if you have any SQL question that need to be that you want me to execute or want me to solve, I will be taking it from the comment section. So keep commenting, and yep, thank you guys.